All right, on this segment of Wet Your Palate, we got a special guest joining us, the king of home fragrance, Harry Slatkin. Thank you for being here. And man, we just had a great podcast, hearing your story, where you've evolved to, what you're doing now, and the amount of products you've created to make people's lives better through beautiful aromatics.
Yes, Harry,
How much wine did it take you to have to sit and listen to me? That's the question. How much wine did it take?
It was zero. I'm looking forward to catching up in the future.
I know I'm intoxicating, but really, how much wine did you have to drink to listen to my story?
It's all about that honeybee. We kept seeing.
Yeah, honeybee, the puppy. All right, Harry, thank you for being here. Everybody, you're going to enjoy this whole listen.
Yes.
It's great stories and really a beautiful understanding of how much fragrance can be involved in your life. So, Harry, thanks for sharing. Do you enjoy wine?
I do like wine, of course.
Okay, and you live in Florida.
Florida's home. I'm in our New York apartment right now, but Florida is home. So we live in Palm Beach.
Oh, great. All right.
Oh, nice.
And during COVID, we left New York and decided to go down, and then we became Florida residents. So we have to spend 6 months there. So we spent 6 months in Florida, and then we go back and forth here, but we have to count our days that we're in New York.
What was it like just being in Florida during COVID? Because I feel like that was the kind of the. I know it was a horrible experience for all of us, but Florida seemed to be a little bit more free. Okay, thank you.
It was COVID. We call it the good old days. COVID was great because we were in Palm Beach. It was really before the influx of everyone that you read about now coming down. So we've always been how should I say, a mixed community with affluent people, because it's usually, more than your first home. But during COVID, we went for long walks every day. It wasn't crowded. If you did pass someone, they'd go to the other side. So we got my daughter and her now fiance, but they've been together 7 years, came home. They were Tulane in New Orleans, and they came home and stayed with us the entire COVID. And so it was great. I mean, he's a great chef, so he cooked for us a lot, and we drank a lot. It was sort of, at one point, you would have thought Guns N' Roses was staying with us, because all you did was you started at 11 o'clock with rosé and just kept going for the whole day. And it was a bubble. I mean, everyone was worried about the world for sure in business, but home fragrance grew during COVID because so many people stayed home. So we continued to grow. If you didn't go to the store, you bought on air, and we were on QVC. So our business really didn't get affected by it, luckily. But it was a dream. It was a bubble to be down there and be outside and have the sunny, warm weather. It was great. It was just great. We play Rummy Cube, which is a tile game.
Yeah.
So we would play Rummy Cube every night, watch movies every night. Like, life stopped and you didn't have to think about anything. I mean, there was horrible deaths and all of that came from it. But Palm Beach was a bubble, and we enjoyed it. And so we stayed. We just became residents, and it's still a bubble. I wake up every day to sun and palm trees when I'm there.
It's funny. Every single person I've asked about the experience of COVID in Florida has nothing but good things to say. And I go back to all of the news cycles about how Florida was just, bucking all of the recommendations, and it was a horrible place to be, and it's the epicenter of the downfall of human civilization, whatever. And I'm like, everybody that was there loved it.
They were living.
And then what
life.
ended up happening is everyone left.
Dude, Rummy Cube and rosé?
Yes, exactly. Rummy Cube, rosé, movies, and, well, no dog at the time. But that is, what do you call it, was a great lifestyle. So when the world stopped, you get to stop too. When the world has not stopped, even in your bubble, you still have to communicate with humanity. So it was great. It just was a great time.
Well, I want to get a little bit into the business side of things, but I feel like we should probably jump into a bit of an introduction here.
Yeah, I think it is time.
So welcome to Go With Your Palate. Harry, thank you for being on. We got a special guest today, Harry Slatkin. He has a plethora of experience in home fragrance, and you've worked with, over 100 brands,
I created home fragrance. I don't just have a plethora. I
Okay.
created it. I have a very big ego, so get ready.
Oh yeah, I like this. Should
I
we
like
say
it. Yeah.
the king of home fragrance?
That was the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, so I didn't give it to me myself, but I will say I earned that title.
You
So
did. You did.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I just heard
I'm just not some
not just the
would-be candle
king.
maker.
It is the creator and king of home fragrance.
Thank you.
There.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Well, see, look. You see?
Yeah, you gotta add.
I saw the eyebrows go up on that. Hey,
if
if you're designing these home fragrances, if you're designing fragrances for Oprah Winfrey, Martha Stewart, Ralph Lauren, I mean, and they keep going on, right? I can't. Please.
Yeah, well, the more you go on, the longer I stay. So you've got another 5 minutes for sure.
Christian Dior.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The list goes on. But I'll tell that as part of my story when you start to ask your any questions you want. But how it all began, that's an easy story.
Well, Harry, thank you for joining us on Go With Your Palate. We're going to dig into your history, what you've created, and what you see the future as. You got me and Fat Mario, Chris Rubio here. I'm Joe Wagner as the hosts, and welcome to Go With Your Palate. The little appetizer course of hearing about how great Florida was during COVID.
Oh, I thought how great I am. Okay, yeah, and Florida's pretty great too.
We're about to hear about how great you are, and yeah, let's. I'm curious. So, wine and fragrance. There are some ties to it. I mean, people love to dissect as deeply as they possibly can the aromatics of things and the way that it makes you feel, that emotional reaction you get from it. But you're bringing that into a more, should I call it an ambient environment, so that people are able to enjoy this throughout the day rather than just at a meal, right?
Yeah. So wine. So when I first started or was growing up, the gift to give someone was wine or candy. And that got replaced by home fragrance because it does create an ambiance, and you can change that ambiance like you could change your wine very quickly. But our keenest sense is our sense of smell. So there is a doctor at Columbia University. My wife and I have a foundation, which I'll talk about because we have a child with autism. And so I met a doctor at Columbia. His name is Richard Axel, and he won a Nobel Prize for scent, and his was to cure illness. But scent is so powerful that it goes to our brain and then through the synapses of our body. So when you light a candle, it changes your mood. When you have alcohol, wine, it changes your mood because obviously we know alcohol changes your mood, but the sensory moment, which is going to our brain, is coming through the scent in the back of your palate. Mm-hmm. So both overlap very much in the mood changing moment in our brain.
That's very, very true. Well stated.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I mean, it sounds like you're speaking at like a doctorate level, which I like to think that if you've worked in an industry and specialized in a certain segment for so many years, you are at a doctorate level, right? Without going to med school.
Yeah, I would. When you go to our manufacturing plants, there are labs where they're wearing white coats. I mean, we treat it as a very serious product for your home. We are not just throw some scent together with some wax formula and off you go. This is a very serious thing. I've been doing it for 35 years.
And you started this without having formal education in it?
Yeah, so I started my first company at 15. That's another podcast. That was a table and bed linen company that quickly grew very fast. We launched at Bloomingdale's, and then it went to JCPenney, et cetera. So it was a little hard as we were growing the company, and with my brother, we started together. It was a little hard to go to college. So when it came time for college, I was still running the business, and I went to my mother, and I asked, "Would you mind if I don't go?" And she said, "Well, why don't you take a sabbatical in the sense of wait and see what you want to do?" But I learned business. It was hard to then sit in classes where I was going to learn how to do a business. And so, so my whole history is an entrepreneur. So starting very early, and how home fragrance happened. So I did my first business. Then I went to work in finance at Bear Stearns, where I became a director of Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns is no longer around, but it was a very important, large investment company. And the man in the office next to me was a very good friend of mine. And when he was getting engaged, and he said, "I'd love to have you meet my fiance." So we went out for dinner, I had already met my wife. She wasn't my wife yet. We were engaged. And she worked at Lehman Brothers. So she was in the industry of finance. And at the end of dinner, she turned to me and she said, Artie, her future husband was Arthur. She said, this is good for him, but you're too creative. And that was Vera Wang. And she was just starting her bridal company. So I thought she was hinting for me to leave Wall Street to run a bridal company. She wasn't. And if you Google, you'll see that Vera and I both give her the credit for making me leave finance to do something more creative. My wife also wanted to change. And my brother, who's an interior designer, he's retired, who only did very important clients like some of the people who own the most important wine vineyards, which I can't mention their name on this podcast, and did them worldwide. And he would give them their own candle because he thought it was a shame to spend all this money on design and not take care of your most obvious response, which is fragrance, right? Because we walk in a room, we smell before we do anything. It takes a while for our eyes to relax. And so he was so tired of people going to dinners and saying, can I have a candle? That he said to my wife, if you would like to take it over, take the candles. I don't want to ever see another candle. And at the exact same time we were doing that, there was a very famous woman named Rosemary Bravo. She became famous as the chairwoman at Burberry and turning it around. But back then she was becoming the president of Saks Fifth Avenue in New York from San Francisco. So she was moving from I. Magnin, which you guys are too young to remember I. Magnin department store. And a friend of ours in San Francisco said, you must see the Slatkin candles. And she did. And we were her first project. And she launched us. I didn't want to be in the home floor. I had read all the books on the great people in fragrance at that point. Estee Lauder, Helena Rubinstein, Charles Reston, who founded Revlon. And I knew I needed to be a lipstick. I needed to be an instant purchase. And by the time you got to 7th floor at Saks, New York, you needed oxygen or you forgot why you went there. So I knew I needed to be in cosmetics so that I would be,
front and
where
center.
you meet on the first front and center. Yeah. So Rosemary launched us on the 3rd floor at a big shop, Women's Wear Daily, which is a trade industry magazine and newspaper, wrote a full page on us. And then all of a sudden, this is 35 years ago, the whole industry woke up and said, I want to do a home fragrance. So while we were launching Slatkin Company, which became the #1 luxury home fragrance brand in the world, Saks, Neiman's, Bergdorf, Harrods, etc. In cosmetics, we got into cosmetics. We did about 150 brands launching as well, as you mentioned, Vera being one of them, but also Tory Burch, Laura Mercier, Chopard, Christian Dior, Ralph Lauren. I mean, the list goes on. And that changed the industry. So when you ask, why am I the king? It's not because I have a big ego and wear a crown, but it's because we helped change home fragrance from being a product that the elite would like when they were having guests over, or it went all the way down to the very bottom and really spoke down to the consumer. And we changed it so that when you got home from work, you lit a candle to relax. When you were having friends over, you lit a candle to relax. It was no longer considered precious. And so that's really how home fragrance changed.
Yes, you were able to target not just that front and center, but also the impulse buy. If you're shopping cosmetics and you see a beautiful candle that's got a wonderful fragrance, you're going to say, I'm going to buy that for my wife as well, or whatever it might be. And
we did. We became the giftable within beauty products. And then we sold the company after 7 years. We got a phone call from a founder of Limited Brands, Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works. And we sold our company to Bath and Body Works. And then I grew the business in 5 years from 100 million to $1.3 billion and became the largest home fragrance business in the world today, doing over $3 billion. So I created the #1 luxury home fragrance brand. And then created the largest home fragrance brand, did all those brands in between, and of course then continued to this day what I'm doing, which we'll talk about hopefully. But yeah, so I own the land. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I own the land.
Well, I would love for you to just touch on how the process works. Obviously, you took it upon yourself to create this market and have these department stores understand that there was value added for them and to their customers by bringing these products into certain new, maybe non-traditional placements. But then all of a sudden you get the eyes and ears of some of the world's most famous designers.
Yes.
And so what is that process from I got a call from Christian Dior to we now have a product? How does that whole process go?
Christian Dior called us up. They wanted to fragrance their flagship store in Paris on Avenue Montaigne. And so one of their flagship scents is a Lily of the Valley. It's called Diorissimo. And Lily of the Valley, one of the most beautiful florals, is one of the hardest florals to recreate. So we ended up making the candles, which they sold, but it started as a way of just scenting. They were one of the first ones. Now you go into so many stores and hotels and everyone scents them, but they were the first to really create a scent so that wherever you went, you thought that was a Christian Dior moment. So when you opened up the doors of Avenue Montaigne, again, to this day, their flagship, you walked in and had the experience of scent meeting luxury. And for Ralph Lauren's home business is a huge part of who Ralph Lauren is as a person, let alone his brand. So they called us up and asked if we could meet. We went to the Ralph Lauren meeting, the first meeting. Ralph was at it. And the head of his design, Alfredo, was at it. And he's in charge of Ralph's homes. He's in charge of the stores look like. He's in charge of all of that. And as we know, Ralph Lauren is perfection wherever you go. And they asked us to do their home fragrance. I remember the first meeting, they came in with a 12-foot high white birch tree and said, "This is like to be our potpourri." And I flippantly said, "How do you expect us to fit that in a box?" And they said, "Well, that's why you're here. That's your problem to figure out." So we launched Ralph Lauren's home fragrance, and that was hugely successful, and the scents were great. And his wife was really more involved than Ralph in the scents. But that's how each one comes about. Really a personal wanting their own atmospheres, whether it's Ralph's stores and home, whether it was Christian Dior for the store. That's how it happened. Each one wanting a signature to their lifestyle for their brands or them.
And then relying upon you and your expertise and being able to pinpoint these specific notes to incorporate into the product.
I think, So because we started Slatkin and Company with such passion behind it, and we use every one of the products, we really created a formula that is proprietary, so it's only ours. It adapts to the fragrances. We didn't know, being naive is something very good. So you don't know, oh, well, let me search out a home fragrance perfumer. So we went to the largest fragrance house in the world. We met with the president, and they introduced us to a master perfumer. And that's how we began. And to this day, excuse me, we deal with master perfumers, which is the highest level you can get to in the perfumery world. We are all essential oils. So when you smell us, you're smelling the pureness. So that Lily of the Valley was the pureness of the oil from the Lily of the Valley for Christian Dior. And each candle takes approximately 6 to 9 months to create. So we take the wax. We have certain different variations. Every candle has a different wick that has to be wicked to it, because based on the color of the candle, based on the fragrance going in the wax. And it starts off with me smelling it in an oil form. Then it goes to a little round roly-poly like this, like a jam jar that has wax in it, no wick. And then I smell that. Then it gets wicked. I burn it. Then we tweak it, burn it. And then it goes to a pre-production sample, burn it. And then it gets tweaked again, burn it. And then it goes into production. And then I smell the first ones off of production. So there's a lot that goes into making just a candle, let alone we make room sprays, we make plugins, we do bath and body products. So I'm continuously bathed in some way of aroma.
Well, I like how you just simplified, 9+ months of work and effort so succinctly. And it does remind me of wine, actually, because it's like, oh, you grow the grapes, you pick the grapes, you ferment the grapes, you put it in barrels, you blend it, and you bottle it. Done. But yeah, it's a reactive process along the way. We're just not burning our wine, but that.
Well, you're tasting.
No, but when you
exactly.
when you think of wine, though, and you think of the different barrels, as you well know, based on where the grape came out of the dirt, where from the vine, where it got into the barrel, each barrel can vary.
Yep.
And so the same thing for fragrance. If it's a peony, every 10 feet, the soil of a peony will change the scent of a peony. So there's great variations in what we do, which is what I love, because just like a wine, not everything's the same, and life should be full of surprises and changes.
Yeah.
Well, you're definitely the king. I want to say something else I've really loved. You don't source anything for fragrance out of China.
No.
Because artificial and so ingredients are important. And just like for Joe, I mean, ingredients are important, what you're actually putting into your product and for people. And so what I'm trying to get to is the question, maybe more so that comes out from this new kind of biohacking trend, but now is becoming a way of life, this healthy way of living. Sometimes people will kind of put the information out there. If you see a lotion and you see fragrance on there, it could be a red flag, or, you know, you get your bath bombs and it just simply says fragrance. And so what I like is bringing light to when you have the attention to the ingredients that you're using in your fragrances, that there is a healthier way to take these into your body. I mean, to experience them, about how your attention to ingredients comes about in your process.
So we do listen, if you want a 100% pure candle and you go to a shop that says they're 100% pure, chances are you're not going to get a great burning candle, and I don't care if it has essential oils or not, they're not going to come out. Mm-hmm. So there is a trade-off you have to do, but we do the best we can. So we have lead-free wicks. They weren't lead-free when I started in the industry. We have proprietary wax formula, which is soy and paraffin, more soy than paraffin, but we don't black soot. We're friendly to the environment, to the ozone. And so we do the best product we can because people come to me for scent. So when you buy a Slatkin & Company product, you want your home to fill with scent, and you want that investment in that product to burn all the way to the bottom and still be happy. And most of those candles that actually go where I call 100% pure are lousy burns and don't have a great, consistency. So there has to be a compromise. So we try and do the best that we can for the product. But that would be my answer. We have a foundation. So we have a child with autism. So we have a foundation that we started years ago. We opened the first charter school for mental health in the state of New York. We built a brain center with Columbia and Cornell on 214 acres in Westchester. We've done so many projects around the world. We're founders of Autism Speaks. We just did so many different projects that we've had the privilege of meeting with scientists in science for mental health. It's not just about autism, it's about the brain. And when you meet with them, we're all trying to push the envelope to get to a point where what could be causing issues, et cetera. So I'm very obvious to that since I have a son with severe autism. So I'm very obvious to that. So I want a product I burn in my house that I'm proud of. I use every product that we make. And I want to put on my body that doesn't have what I call the crap that you get when you go to those cheaper stores. Mm-hmm. So, but I have to deliver it at a value. So we do the best we can on a product that I'm very proud of putting on the market that's good for you.
Right.
Very well said.
Well, yeah, and what do you say to? And every industry seems to have haters now more than ever, right? People are going to pick apart whatever they possibly can, but this divide, right, of alcohol is bad or moderation is good. Now, when you look at the candle world. Of course, I've seen the articles of people saying the scented candles are going to fill the air with oils. You're going to be breathing them in and whatever bullshit that they say, right? At the end of the day, if you like drinking wine, do it in moderation. But I also think, is there truly a risk with candles? What would you say to those criticisms?
I probably say the same that you just went through with alcohol. I mean, we read every day, moderation. One day you find out that you shouldn't be eating fats and red meats, and then the next day you're reading an article that says it's good to eat, the right kind of fats and the right kind of, red meat. So I really think it's you being a smart person about your life, your family, and what you do, and everything in somewhat of a moderation for your lifestyle. That would be my answer. Just like when I start getting into the world of mental health and the work that's being done by the scientists, and you start getting controversy into people talking about what causes things like autism, my answer is, you know, use your own judgment, be smart, but doesn't mean that the science backs up what you're saying. I just think it's being smart about every part of your life. We all should be that. We should read and take it in how we want to do it. And then there you find what I call the fanatics in the world, and the fanatics in the world. And now, of course, with the AI, you don't know which is a real article or not a real article. You know, I just think you have to be a smart person on your own, and you decide how you want to live. If candles bother you, don't burn them. If candles are something you want in your life, then use moderation.
Love it.
Or like me, be fanatical and use it all the time.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also too, I mean, especially if you're talking about city life, I mean, you're there in New York. I lived out there for a few years. I mean, you're walking around in the city,
Yeah.
you're breathing and touching all kinds of things.
Well,
I mean, sometimes, you know, I'd rather be there.
Yeah. As an example, so right before this podcast started, I was showing you we have a new puppy, 8 weeks. And needless to say, I'm on Xanax and alcohol for that puppy because I wasn't ready at my old age for another puppy. But we were bringing her to New York, so I said to the doctor, because I had to take her 8 weeks, she had to go for a shot the day before I left for New York. And she said, well, you can't walk around the street because there's something going on the street with the rat's urine. There's a new virus going around, and the dogs can pick it up through smelling. You know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's something going on. So you bring up New York. Yeah. I mean, they got rat's urine that the dogs should be staying away from on the street. So my answer to you is just live your life, you know, and do it the best you can, but be smart about it. You don't want to end up in Betty Ford because you drink too much. And, you know, you just everything has to be done in a way that you feel happy for your family and yourself.
Yeah, and just pay attention to your own body.
And I just want to say, we all had the pleasure to see Honeybee.
I'll bring her out at the end if I can.
No, yeah. I will have you do it again. I won't put you through that again. He was nice enough to do it, but she's like teething right now.
Okay.
She was all up in his beard.
So Honeybee's the new pup.
Yeah.
Honeybee's it's a Bernedoodle. We got her 4 weeks ago. She's 8 weeks old. And we had a dog. She passed away 2 years ago, but she was 16. So I was used to my kind of dog, a lazier, sleep next to me, follow me because I'm having cheese. This one,
the cheese tax.
This one is exhausting. We got home at 11 o'clock last night, and as I talked about it earlier, literally 500 miles an hour around our apartment in New York, speeding everywhere. And we do that in Palm Beach. We'll take her outside and do that, and then she goes to sleep. Here, she didn't want to go to sleep. So she went in here on a wee-wee pad because I can't take her to the street because of the virus going around from the rat
The rat virus.
So she went on her wee-wee pad, had her in bed. We were trying to settle her down. Next thing you know, we're about to take her to, you know, her bedroom to go to sleep, and she tinkled on our bed. So the duvet had to come off, and the comforter underneath it had to come off. And there we are at 11:45 now at night, cursing Honeybee. So she's adorable. We love her to death, and she's for sale.
What? Well, enjoy the Xanax. Enjoy the Xanax and wine.
Yeah,
it'll only last.
Oh, I am. Trust me. Why do you think I'm on your podcast? I couldn't have been here otherwise.
Hey, feel free to make yourself a drink over there. I think there's a
the
bar over
bar's
there.
right here. Trust me, I am tempted.
And I mean, Bernedoodles, if I've heard
you.
correctly, they only act like puppies for like 6 to 8 years. So
I can't use 4-letter words on your podcast, but one came to mind just now. So if it's 6, 8 years, this is my epitaph. This podcast. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was probably the same with cockapoos because
yeah.
I got one that's almost 10 and he still acts like a puppy. And the only difference is he knows all the things not to do, but then we'll just sometimes
that's
share
all I
a
care
look.
about.
Yeah,
I don't mind the puppy part. I just need the things not to do. So once that happens, then I'm okay for the puppy part. Let her run around the apartment, but we're running around after her because afraid she's going to do something on the carpets or that kind of moment. That's what we're nervous about.
We always have to work because they could be intelligent too. So that wild card factor where they know what not to do, but that one day they're just feeling like a little spicy. So
they're like, Dad's out of the house.
Yeah. I think
But
I
isn't
want
that all of us too?
It is,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I got
If my wife yells one more time, bathroom, trying to get the dog to go to the wee wee pad, I swear I'm going to do it myself. I've heard it so many times. Bathroom, bathroom. All of a sudden, I realize I've got to go.
That's he's got his pups back.
Oh man, well I've got a dog that I have 5 dogs, but one of them knows how to open doors.
5 dogs and 6 kids.
Yeah, yeah. And
The puppy.
no, none of them are puppies anymore. They're all the youngest is about 2.5. But
Well, how the hell did you teach the dog to open the door?
he just learned on his own. I would if I could go back in time and I don't know put blinders on him, I would. But man, he'll just go wherever he wants now, and then he'll let the other dogs in. And so if we're not home now, when my wife's got trackers on him, we got video cameras up just to see because that it's like okay, they go and they raid the pantry.
Okay. Well, nothing derogatory, but you got 5 dogs. You deserve one of them to be really odd out. 5 dogs, and I would have been doing this podcast laying down.
Yeah.
And with a candle, of course, going to calm me down.
No, hey, I did want to jump back into the fragrance and candles because you did touch on one thing that I find very interesting. So candles, it sounds like that's kind of where it all started for you, but then you've diversified into a number of different fragrance options. And I mean, what I've seen even in my house and what my wife loves, because she almost has different scents in different rooms, different parts of the house. So the kitchen versus the living room versus the bedroom versus each one of the bathrooms. Also, so there's diffusers, there's candles.
I'm glad it's a fragrance house. I have to send you a care package.
It's then let's see which dog you can get to light it. Yeah. So how has the evolution and the business changed over your career of over 35 years from kind of a percentage basis, maybe to simplify it, from fragrance candles to the more diverse array of fragrance options?
It really happened on a personal level. I'm not one to really have consulting companies come in, or I read a lot of articles and I read a lot of things about the world of fragrance, not just home fragrance, but it really comes personal. Home fragrance, I don't light a candle the minute I walk in my home. Give me, I got to settle in. So I wanted scent 24/7. So I help create what really is the plug-in business today. So that I get 24/7, 365. I've got scent. It may not be as powerful as a candle, but front door, bathroom, somewhere I've always got scent going. And then that just started to develop into I wash my hands constantly throughout the day. And so we came out with liquid soap, which was our first foray into bath and body. And then I wash, luckily, for everybody around me. I wash and in the bath, the shower, or I wash, my body. And that ended up coming out with a body line because I was tired of the product. I didn't love the scents. So many people just think it's okay to put a designer scent out and not really have the designer using the product. It's a corporation. Remember, I own the company, so there's great passion behind it. And so it just evolved. And so it's really like, even when I launched Auto, it's because we spend so much time in our car. I mean, you live in Napa. I'm sure you drove to the studio. I'm sure you're driving home. I'm sure you're driving to the vineyard. So you spend a lot of time in your car. So I really wanted to make that environment an environment like another room of the house. So everything has really been an extension of my own lifestyle. And that's how I've created to expand where we are. And then with the help of the retailers. So when I was growing the company, when we sold it to Bath and Body Works, I've been watching Home Shopping Network since Barry Diller started when I was 15. So instead of watching Bewitched, I was watching Home Shopping Network. And one day they had a reindeer on it and went out of wood. And when you lifted its tail, it popped out peanut M&Ms. And they used to show the quantities back then, and they had sold 37,000 pooping reindeers. So I said, someday I'm going on now QVC, but I'm going on because if they can sell a pooping reindeer, I should be able to sell something.
Yeah.
So when I sold the brand to Bath and Body Works and we took it from 100 million to 200 to 300 million, I said, I've got to tell the consumer this is not the product that you knew. So I went to QVC. I went on. We were the fastest sellout hour that they'd ever had in any category. We sold out in 47 minutes. It was in Women's Wear Daily. And I launched it, and it helped drive the consumer from watching it on TV to Bath and Body Works. We had to put signs in the store as seen on or sold out at QVC. And that really then, developed into its own business. When I stepped down at Bath and Body Works, I had a non-compete. I bought a fashion brand with my best friend, Tommy Hilfiger. We bought Belstaff, which is a British brand. I was chairman and part owner. And that was worldwide. The most exhausting 3 years of my entire life was fashion. Then I retired for a while, which my wife didn't like because I spend too much money on our lifestyle. So I was having lunch one day with the head of QVC, and he said, we've never replaced your business. We'd love to have you back. So I went to QVC. I thought I'll just do QVC in this sort of retired life. I could do it anywhere on my laptop in the world. And he left to go to Kohl's. And so I had dinner with him and the new CEO of Kohl's. And then we were at a dinner where they were honoring the founder of Home Depot, which we're friends with two of them. One passed away recently. Ken Langone is still alive, and he did something for Ken's Kids, which is for children with special needs. I wanted to do a candle for that for Home Depot. Next thing I know, we're in all Home Depot stores, and then Walmart, then Target, then CVS. And it just emerged into this fortuitous growing business that we have now. And so I have to say the puppy's more exhausting than the company, but that's really how it went. It's my own life journey that created this environment. And then when we sold the company to Bath and Body Works, my wife got to keep the private label brands because she kept running that. When her non-compete was up, because we started the company together, Slatkin Company, she started Nest, which became the #1 luxury home fragrance brand in the world.
Yeah.
And and she just recently stepped down from being chairman of that company. She's still on the board and part owner, but she just stepped down from that. So really, our world is surrounded by fragrance and beauty. And we created a niche within that beauty world to grow. And so it's not a plan. It's not like I read a book and a text at, Stern School at NYU and said, oh, home fragrance. Well, there's something novel. It just all happened serendipitously. And that's been my life. And
Other
that's
products
how
that
it
are inspired
continued.
by your life and the way that you want to enjoy it, and you're sharing it with others.
Yeah, just like, do you have passion for wine?
Yeah.
So how did your wine
I mean,
story
it is the same philosophy, right? It's I want to make a product that I enjoy drinking, and I want to share it with others, and hopefully they like it. It's as simple as that.
Exactly it.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. And if not, you have a lot of wine you get to drink because you're happy with your wine. And I get a lot of candles to burn because I love my candles.
Yeah.
So the point is, you hope it works and the consumer loves it. But there's luck involved in everything. But your passion is what gets you through. Because if anyone says it goes straight like this, they're liars. So this is a business cycle, and you hope you end up here. But to go through this, your love and passion have to get you there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and I just think it's beautiful. It's also obviously led to legendary collaborations.
I've been so privileged to meet the people I've met. Yes.
I mean, like we said in the beginning, I mean, the list goes on, but I mean, one of those that really stuck out to me was Elton John.
Yes.
We both grew up.
First time I met
fans.
Elton John. Of course, we all grew up with Elton John. We know you go to a concert of his,
Yeah.
you literally can sing to every single song, every single word. First time we met Elton John, and I know we don't have much time left, but I'll tell you the story. Was we met Elton. There was a woman coming to buy. We had a little tiny shop when we first started, and she was buying so many candles of this one gardenia scent. We thought of having her followed because we thought maybe she's reselling them on eBay. Amazon wasn't even a thing back then. And so one day she calls us up and she said, I'm with the person that I've been buying those candles for, and he wants to come in, but you have to close your shop. And I said, well, we really don't close our shop. Back then, Mrs. Onassis, when she was alive, would shop us, Valentino, Oprah Winfrey, it's how we met Oprah. So all those people, we never closed our shop. I mean, it's not like it was jam packed full of people. She said, "Well, it's Elton John. We closed the shop because his spending habits are legendary. So of course we closed the shop." And he came in with David. David was filming him for Tantum and Tiaras, which was a documentary they came out with. So it was a little daunting to have David with him filming with the entourage and Elton. Couldn't be nicer. And he bought $38,000 worth of scented candles for his 7 homes, gave us his own MasterCard. It went right through, of course. And a friendship developed, and we were invited to his 50th birthday in England. And my wife and I were just starting the business. So we said, well, we can't keep up with the Beckhams and Elizabeth Taylor on gifts. What are we going to get him? So we decided to give him 24 couture candles, a scent that would just be for Elton. And he called us the day after his party and said, "This is the best gift if you do me a favor." And we said, "Of course, what?" He said, "Could you create it? I'll work with you on the scent," which we did, which was from his white garden in his house outside of London. And if it benefits my Elton John AIDS Foundation, which he was just starting. So, same time Elizabeth Taylor started AMFAR, he started the Elton John AIDS Foundation. And we said, of course, my brother was on the board of the Harvard AIDS Institute, so we believed in the very beginning days of about what was happening with AIDS and had to change it. So we did, and we raised $7 million for the foundation through the sale of the candle, which we launched from Neiman's and Bergdorf's, and it just flew out everywhere. Of course, he sang "Candle in the Wind" when we launched it at Princess Diana's memorial, which also helped with the idea we had a candle, but that turned into a great friendship. And that's how we got to know each other so well. And the friendship continues. I'm still doing Elton's candles now for QVC. So that friendship continues. But that voyage has gone in so many different paths with so many different people we've met. I think because of our life having scientists in it, because of our foundation, having wonderful people that are, I call it people that make a difference in life. We have great friends who don't do that also. It's made it so interesting to sit at a table, and whether you have, the scientists who won the Nobel Prize I mentioned at Columbia University for scent, or Vera Wang, or Elton, or, movers and shakers of finance, or just our friends who are artists, all of that creates such an interesting conversation and perspective on life that's been the fun voyage for us and still is. I mean, curiosity didn't kill this cat. It keeps me going.
It also sounds like it's guided you in so many different philanthropic ways, not just your own personal philanthropy in which you've started, but also working with a number of other people that are movers and shakers and have a lot of clout to participate with them and what their goals are.
At Elton's wedding, which we were invited to in London, I sat next to Evelyn Lauder, who was alive then, married to Leonard Lauder. And we started talking. It was the first time I'd ever sat next to Evelyn at dinner. We knew each other socially, but not really close. And we started talking. My wife sits on something on the board called Cold Spring Harbor, which is one of the most important labs for cancer and for the brain. And she started talking about the doctor she used for breast cancer research, which we know Evelyn Lauder was responsible for changing the world of breast cancer through the BCRF, Breast Cancer Foundation. And it was the same doctor that was working on us at Cold Spring Harbor for the brain. And that turned into a friendship. And Leonard Lauder passed away this past year, but in Florida in 10 days, my wife and I are the first recipient of an award at that cancer lunch for 1,000 people, because Leonard, when he passed away, gave his son William a list of people he'd like to be recognized, because we've been involved in cancer research when my wife was first detected breast cancer on her. And because the research is so far advanced today, with everyone getting behind it, what she had was a minor situation as compared what could have turned into a bigger situation. So I wish I had a wand and a checkbook that could help so many different areas. But you do the best you can, and your journey in life usually takes you into that. Whether you give $1 or your time, we all make a difference in life if we do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's it. You do what you can.
You do what you can.
I did want to talk about because we touched a little bit about the evolution of fragrance.
Yes.
And it was something I want to talk about because I don't sometimes know if it's about. Well, it's going to lead to me asking what some of the wildest I guess, requests you got in fragrance design. And that's coming from, in 2020, we had Gwyneth Paltrow came out with her candle, Smells Like My Vagina. Right? And I've seen...
Actually, I think she used another word, but yes.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of this kind of going on. And yes, I could see it as catchy in marketing. I think she's even been interviewed to say it doesn't really smell like it. Whatever. But so I wanted to kind of see if you've ever, what's your insight, first of all, on this type of marketing? And then, yes, if you have a wild, fragrance request story when you've been designing.
Is this really the end? Unbelievable. Find out next week.